Whenever like Chelsea's injured, she'll be like, somebody like, "Oh, what happened?" And I would say, and I go, "He fell down the stairs."
Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should, and you probably are, and that's why we like you. This week on Chill Filtered, episode 223, that's 223. That's a lot of episodes. That's a buttload.
That's like 223 of them, man.
Yeah, seriously. And we are drinking Stagg Jr., specifically batch 14. That's a 130.2 proofer. That was from the year 2020, the summer of 2020. But before I get to anything about the whiskey, before I get to anything of how we're doing or anything like that, let's talk about some business. This is a good opportunity to say we do have we've had a increase in listeners lately. If you're a new listener, we appreciate you listening along, but feel free to hit us up on Instagram. We're not that big to not be able to talk with some of our listeners, and
who would be
people like Ben Klepsig or Caleb Olson and Brian Rapp, not afraid to hit us up, and we appreciate that.
Well, I'm going to call Caleb Olson out right now. Caleb Olson's it's been a hot minute.
Yeah,
Caleb sent us some ribs a while ago, and they look great.
We'll take rib pics any day.
Send us your rib pics, folks. We do.
Yeah.
We're here for everything, man.
Yes.
Meander in your chat with us. Like if you're just a whiskey novice.
We can talk about anything.
Yeah, I'll answer you because I am not the whiskey expert. We'll talk it.
No, but you are at this point.
No, not like you are.
Nah.
Yeah, you know it.
Anyway, that's one way you can support us, and that's the business for today. Otherwise, Robby, how's things? We recorded yesterday because we're recording 2 in a week because next week I'm out most of the week. But how are you doing this week or today?
Good. If you listened last week, you thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna be their sloppy seconds episode. They're gonna be all sloshed up. It's not. No. We realized a little too late. We tried to start the second. My wife's like, really? I was like, you're right. I did have internet problems for about a half hour that killed the second recording time. So it's a new day. It's a new era. It's a new me. Look good, feel good. No, things are good. Went to my goddaughter Audrey's first birthday today. And got to watch her. She's scared of me. She loved everyone at that party. She would, if I walked in the room, she'd lock eyes on me and stare me down.
How old is she?
She's 1. She's the first party,
okay.
First birthday. So
it's a good time.
And then she cried. So I made her cry at her party. She's scared of me. I'm hoping it's just the beard.
She can cry if she wants to.
She can. It was her party. I hope it's just the beard that scared her, and not the fact that she saw into my soul and realized I was void of any likable traits.
You got many likable traits.
Oh well, I project them. I don't have them. She saw the void of my soul. No, so we did her party, which is a lot of fun. Last night was a lot of fun. Chelsea had to go watch her nephews, and it was great. It got the solo stove going, had a fire outside, got the blankets on the patio couch, brought the TV out. We watched some shows. It was a wonderful evening. So I don't know. Life is good, man. Weather's at a great spot. I'm excited to get done recording because I'm going to get a little yard work and play in the yard with the girls, and it's like a nice crisp fall day. Get some football on the TV. Yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful day. Yeah, I don't know. How about you, man? How are you?
We're getting the remnants or the beginning remnants of Ian. Ian's
earring.
Ian, and so it was wet this morning, but it cleared up by like easily before noon.
Nice.
And it was like a really nice day. We went on a walk. And
how's Andrew Loudon doing? I haven't. Is he okay?
He seems to be okay. I saw a follow-up video to him. He seems like he was pretty okay. And I think his company like helps with that kind of stuff. Like he's like able to maybe some sort of catastrophe recovery. I don't know. But all I heard was like something that he was like, and my company will help with that kind of stuff. Or maybe his company like donates or something. I don't know. But Andrew, you
I haven't been on
Instagram
much. I should hit him up and just say, glad you're okay.
Yeah, he seems to be doing well. And the funny thing was his follow-up video was like the clear bluest skies you'll ever see right after Ian passed, and it was kind of interesting. But I know our thoughts and well wishes are out to all those who may or may not have, or mostly may have gone through some hard times with Ian. It's a lot. I mean, it was a big storm.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, sorry, I was laughing at you're like extending the thoughts and wishes to people who may not have been anything near.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, Ben Klepsig, my thoughts and wishes are to you. No, but they're always to Ben Klepsig.
Oh, he's a friggin' baller. Speaking of which, why don't you just say it right now, man? Why is
last night, the baller, the legend, the double ding kind of guy.
You got a good ding that time.
Ben Klepsig was at Binny's. He must have dropped down to Illinois because I think Binny's is only in northern Illinois, and he lives in Madison area, Wisconsin. So he made his way down there. Sent me a picture of a $60 Driftless Glen rye pick that was like a 5-year, and I was like, do it. And then he's like, but I also found a Glen Grant 18 on the shelf for $130, and I was and I had to think about it for a second. The first bottle was the Driftless Glen at $50 or $60.
You got a couple of Glens.
Yeah, that's
true. He's glenning it up. Yeah,
Driftless Glen Grant. Yeah,
and mix them up.
So I was really excited. I was hesitant because like $200, throwing down $200 is like I don't want to do that right now. But like I haven't seen ever a Glen Grant 18 on a shelf, especially hearing of how rare it is altogether. So I was happy to get that. And then who wouldn't like a Driftless Glen rye pick? We did that on the podcast. I don't know what episode it was, but it was fantastic. It was absolutely hub it what.
And the reason was it who it what?
And I believe that was a Caleb Olson joint, the original one.
I think so.
So what a baller. Another baller. Give me a moment.
Cool. I see you're doing better on your ding ding. You're holding it at the base and flicking it hard.
You gotta grab the base, flick it hard.
There you go.
And yeah, otherwise, my wife is out. They went shopping because they knew I was going to record, and then after this,
women do shopping. Daniel. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Women, huh? No,
women do shop.
I shop. Yeah, but am I a woman? Technically, no. But what was I? No, have you ever seen? There's this Flight of the Conchords video where it's called The Issues, and
this is
this
Steve.
one breakdown.
You brought this up with Steve, right? That's where the
Steve. Yeah. That was a Flight of the Conchords reference. But there's a song they do. It's called The Issues, and it's really funny. Look it up on YouTube. But there's this one point where Jermaine Clement starts breaking down the song, and he's like, "Who's a man? What's a man? Why is it so hard to be a man? Am I a man? Yes, technically, yes." Like they're so all over the place.
We've had this conversation
more than I do.
We've had this conversation.
Have we?
Yeah, because I remember saying it reminds me of the Muppets. Am I a man?
Oh yeah, we have.
A Muppet of a man, a very manly Muppet. I love that movie.
Funny.
That's that movie's probably one of my favorite movies. The Muppet movie with what's his face
with Jason Segel.
Yeah,
nice. I was just watching.
Have you ever seen it?
Have you seen it?
No, have you seen that Muppet movie, dude? It's worth it.
Is it?
Okay. Yeah. I'm sitting here solitary. It's good. It's really good.
That's good.
I put it on and I laugh every single time.
I like
still. I know what's coming. Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. It's good, Cole. You gotta watch it.
I'll check it out. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, Heather and I have been watching the Dahmer docu-series.
I've not watched that yet.
It's dark. It's
really?
Netflix. Yeah, check it out. It's dark.
I've been more concerned like lighthearted fun for the family, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fun family time, But
eat your heart out. It's great.
Exactly. That's pretty good. So yeah, I have a little time to myself, which is kind of nice. And I've been working on jewelry, and I'm going to the wedding next week, so it was good to knock out as many orders as I could, so none were late. But I did pretty well, and I was very excited about that. My macaroni jewelry was finished in time to get to my customers. So
a delish macaroni party.
Yeah, you can throw it in the boiling water, and it turns into something else.
Just take it off your neck first.
Your neck? Oh, I heard something.
Yeah, take the necklace off before you boil it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rules of the road. So that's pretty much everything.
That's pretty much everything.
This will come out. This episode will come out the
7th?
10th or something like that.
No, 7th, right? Because it's like
today's the 1st, so 2 days from now will be the 3rd.
No,
So yeah,
it'll be the 10th.
Yeah, it'll be the 10th.
You're right.
So October 10th, Halloween season begins and all that stuff. So
today's the 1st of October, and I love.
That's true.
I'm excited. We're going to after record, kind of chill for a little bit, and I forgot we're gonna put up our Halloween decorations, which is one of my.
Are you gonna filter for a little bit? Hey-o.
Hey, I'm gonna chill and then get filthy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love putting up Halloween decorations. I love spooky season.
Spooky.
Mm-hmm. And I got my spooky playlist going. CKY.
Nice.
A bit of him. Twilight Sad.
That's right.
And there's like this Russian band that play, like there's a reel that I watch where it's like Wednesday Addams is dancing. And I'm like, this just made it into October music for me.
Nice. You should do the spooky, scary skeletons. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. You know what I like?
Now you sound like the bar scene.
I did from the cantina. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You ever see the David S. Pumpkins sketch on Saturday Night Live with Tom Hanks?
Oh, you know what? I never have, but I've only seen like the thumbnail of it on YouTube. But I'm like, maybe I'll check it out one day.
It's funny. I like it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't
love
know
Tom Hanks.
I just love Halloween stuff in general. And then, you got to watch with Beck.
What do I got to watch?
It's one of my favorite things to watch with the kids. It's like, and when they're old, I think I'll still probably watch it because the Curious George. I can't remember what it is, but No Noggin and Curious George. It's a little spooky but cute.
Spooky.
Love it. Curious George Halloween.
So, did you ever watch? You're a little too old for this, but did you ever watch Goosebumps? The show.
I was telling you, my era was Are You Afraid of the Dark? I watched that.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. So it was a good show, and they were actually great books. I read a lot of the books when I was a kid, but there was only one that was like, dude, like it'll mess with you. And it was Night of the Living Dummy. And
with the
ventriloquist dummy. Uh-huh. And it gave me nightmares for years. I remember thinking as a kid, will I ever stop having nightmares about the dummy? And
then here you are.
I did.
On a podcast talking to another dummy.
Yeah, I have nightmares about Robbie. No,
the Goosebumps. Have you seen the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black? They're like
I did with Jack Black.
Yeah, they're kind of fun. I like them.
Yeah,
it was like we watched that one came out, and it was like an age where Amara was like, "This is a scary movie for Amara."
Totally
liked it. It was cute.
I'm very intrigued. Okay, this is kind of like I feel vulnerable saying this, but I'm not a huge fan of what's that movie with Bette Midler?
Oh, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. They did this. Yeah. They did a sequel, which I thought was like actually a good idea because like it's not like one of those movies that you shouldn't do a sequel to, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but I'm intrigued.
I think we're gonna probably watch that tonight or start it tonight, finish tomorrow. Yeah, I saw a meme that was like, "Oh, it's October. It's time to pretend like we all think Hocus Pocus is an okay movie."
Yeah,
like that's about it. Yeah, I think it's fun because it's like, you know what Halloween movie I do like a lot.
What's that?
Hubie Halloween with Adam Sandler.
Oh, I watched that a year or two ago.
It cracks me up. I think it's hilarious. Yeah. It's fun.
We used to have this college tradition where I was at JMU with some of my friends, where we would watch a spooky movie or like a scary movie, but we would watch it in like kind of a creepy place. So one of our freshman year, we did it in like the boiler room of our dorm.
You did it in a trench of swampy goodness.
Oh, that's not spooky. That's amazing. And yeah, we did it in like the boiler room, and we watched like I think it was 28 Days Later, which isn't like a Halloween movie, but it is
Cillian Murphy too, isn't it?
Cillian Murphy, yeah.
Cillian Murphy.
That was like one of his first American breakout roles.
Yeah.
And but he was naked in the first scene.
Oh well, I guess I have to rewatch it. No, that movie I remember being disappointed. I remember being disappointed by it. Like it started out really good, and then like halfway through, it changes kind of where it was going, and it was not as cool as where it was starting.
I'll have to check it out again. I haven't seen
think
it
that's
in 12, 13 years.
same, but that's what I think. I thought of
Yeah.
it.
I remember thinking it was a decent zombie movie, but that was 14 years ago. So.
He wakes up with like half his head shaved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I shaved half my head. Probably.
Yeah.
I was.
I should do it. My wife's like a huge fan of Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
Shouldn't. She hasn't seen it yet. She'll be like, "Oh wow, Cillian Murphy first scene."
Let's start the movie over.
Yeah, I missed the beginning. Yeah.
What's the like? Have you seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet?
Not yet. I hear
you get
good things?
full backle nudity from what's his face from Thor.
And nice.
That's kind of the running joke.
I love the old backle nudity.
It's like frontal. What's the opposite of frontal? Rearal. Frontal.
No, maybe dorsal or something like that.
Dorsal. Yeah, that would probably be it. Full dorsal nudity.
Dorsal nudity.
Yeah. No, that you haven't seen that yet?
Not yet.
That's Taika Waititi.
How is Christian Bale in it? Good.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Oh, good. I'm very happy.
Yeah, like it's a very light. It's super lighthearted. Like I think I loved about that movie is like Chelsea and I saw it in the theater, and she had to tell me to shut up because I was laughing too loud. But it was one of those things that were like it was joke after joke, and she'd be laughing. Nice. Like, did you catch that? And she'd be like, "What?" And I'd tell her the joke, and then I'd be laughing. And she'd like, "Did you catch that?" So like, and there were so many good like quotes in it that it was like after we watched it, like we couldn't remember any good ones.
Taika Waititi directed that one.
Yep.
Yeah, he's always got some good humor mixed into whatever he's doing.
He's probably.
Have you seen Jojo Rabbit yet?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
We watched
Loved
it,
that movie.
and then it's like Chelsea's favorite now. Like we watched it, and Chelsea's like, "I'm gonna buy this movie." And then after, so like it was a night. Like, it never happens like this where the kids are just happy. They were doing their own thing. Yeah. Chelsea's like, let's go finish the movie real quick because we watch movies in parts now.
Yeah, for sure.
And we finished the movie, and I was like, all right. I got up, and she goes, I think we should watch it again. Let's start it over. And I was like, I'm gonna go be a parent. You can watch the movie.
Nice.
So she's like, yeah, no, that's like her favorite
honored.
movie now. It is a really good movie.
Nice.
It really is good.
I love Taika Waititi's role where he's like, "Heil me." It's so good.
Hi Hitler. Oh gosh, and no one take this out of context.
This
is what we talk about too. It's like this movie, you like there's so many funny things to quote in it, but you can't quote it because you're laughing about the Nazi aspect of it because of the way it's presented.
Yeah, they do a good job lightheartening that thing that what it was, but
not necessarily, but just
just
Nazi regime. And you can't quote it. Like I really like. Please, nobody snip me howling there and like put it on social media. Oh gosh, no, that movie is really good.
I also love where like I think the movie, if it hadn't been for Taika Waititi playing that role, it wouldn't even be as close as good. Like it was a good movie, but it was so much better with him.
I remember when they were doing press runs for it, and I was listening to like NPR or something like that, and they were talking to him about it, and he was like, so you play Hitler, and he's like, yeah, and I think it's the best role for someone like me to play, essentially, because it removes the actual Hitler from it, and it's just this imagination, right? It's good. Have you seen Hunt for the Wilder People?
No, is that Taika Waititi?
It is really good too, dude. Nice. I want to make you tear up.
Have you seen What We Do in the Shadows? The movie. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Speaking of Halloween time things, it's time to watch that again.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Speaking of Jermaine Clement.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The my favorite line from that movie is, why do you drink the blood of virgins? Think of a sandwich. Would you want to eat a sandwich that wasn't a virgin? Essentially, like it's a little more vulgar than that, but like
that's so funny. So I guess we've gone long, which is fine.
Well, no. We've gone short. Like we've done Chill Filter. Now we're doing Have You Seen This Movie?
Yeah, exactly.
So welcome to Have You Seen This Movie, where we talk about movies neither of us has seen, and we try to relate it to each other.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
But you probably should.
You probably aren't.
Anyway,
because who does this?
Anyway, let's go to break, and when we get back from break, we'll talk about Stagg Jr. Batch 14, and we'll talk about what makes it special. But before we do any of that,
Cole,
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen our break?
Here we go to break. And we're back with what we're drinking today. Not George T Stagg. Not even. I mean, maybe close. Some people would say it's pretty close. We're drinking Stagg Jr, now known as Stagg, but at least for batch 14, it was Stagg Jr.
I'm sad that it's not Stagg Jr anymore.
I know. Junior. Anyway, it's the 130.2 proof.
You never loved me. Sorry.
What's that?
You just did a voice about Junior. I don't know. It's just that's my mom for The Sopranos voice.
It always reminds me when I hear Junior, I always think of Indiana Jones with Sean Connery, and he only refers to Indiana Jones as Junior.
You're the man now, dog. That's Sean Connery in Finding Forrester. Never saw. I think I saw that movie, but that anytime I think of Sean Connery, I think of that line. You're the man now, dog.
Dude, he would have been canceled if
Sean Connery.
Yeah, died. I think he died.
Yeah.
He would have been canceled if he was alive because there's like interviews of him saying like it's okay to beat a woman.
Was that Sean Connery?
Yes, unlike Barbara Walters. Yeah, and he's like if she earned it, if she needs to like chill out, like I'm like whoa, Sean. But anyway, yeah, it was bad. You should look it up.
No,
but anyway, oh, go ahead.
Never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna get myself in trouble if I say what I used to say that I thought was funny.
Yeah. So anyway, Sean Connery.
I'll say it off mic.
That sounds good. And it's nothing bad, listeners. It's fully in good humor.
It is in humor. I would never. No, the funny thing is I mentioned earlier that the child saw into the void of my character and realized everything was an act, and now I'm talking about horrible things that I said when I was younger.
Heather and I used to say that Heather beats me, so which is probably not appropriate anymore either, you know.
Whenever like Chelsea's injured, she'll be like something like, "Oh, what happened?" And I would say, and I go, "You fell down the stairs." I don't beat my wife.
Is that what you're gonna say, or was it gonna be
no? Something is worse than that.
That's so funny. It makes me think. I always love that phrase, and I probably even mentioned this on the podcast before in Fight Club, where he's basically the narrator's talking about Tyler Durden, and he's like, "Sometimes we just stand up for me," and they're at the hospital, and the doctor's stitching him up, and they're like, "What happened?" And then Brad Pitt yells across the room, "He fell down some stairs," and then Edward Norton's like, "I fell down some stairs." It's just so good to me. Anyway, we'll get to the drink, the whiskey. This is not our first Stagg Jr. bottle on the podcast. We've done 2 episodes and on 3 bottles, actually, of Stagg Jr. Episode 16, a very long time ago, we drank both batches 3 and 10. And on episode 191, we drank batch 12. I typically love Stagg Jr., but we've talked a lot about the history of the bottling as well as who George T Stagg was. But let's talk today about Mashbill number 1.
Does T stand for
there's not much to say. What's that?
What's T stand for again?
Theodore. No, I don't know actually. Maybe.
Simon. Okay, sorry.
No.
All right.
Not much to say about Mashbill number 1. There's not a definitive amount to say about Mashbill number 1, but there is plenty to talk about. So now most of us know that Buffalo Trace is the maker of Stagg Jr., but some of us know that it's not Stagg Jr. anymore, as I mentioned. It's just Stagg, but I haven't yet seen any of the new bottles with the lack of Junior on it, but I'm sure I will soon. That being said, Stagg Jr. has always been my white whale whiskey. I've mentioned this before. Always so close to finding it and then just miss it. Shout out to Daniel Elliott, a friend of mine, who was able to score me a batch 17 somewhat recently and basically break my dry spell since 2015 of getting Stagg Jr. But I digress. Most of us know that Buffalo Trace has 4 main mash bills for their whiskey. They have mash bills 1 and 2, and then they have their wheated bourbon mash bill and their rye whiskey mash bill. Almost all their products, except for certain experimentals, for example, the Amaranth E.H. Taylor, come from these 4 mash bills. Even the Van Winkles these days use the wheated bourbon mash bill, especially since the Sisselweller stock went dry. Mash bills 1 and 2 are their rye bourbon mash bills. Mash bill number 1 is sometimes referred to as the low rye bourbon mash bill. And mash bill number 2 is sometimes referred to as the high rye or higher rye bourbon mash bill. Though no one knows the exact ratios, at least outside of the company. What we do know, it is firstly Kentucky corn of grades 1 and 2. And then Minnesota rye, and then North Dakota malted barley. Same for both mash bills. They both involve that. But mash bill number 2 has more rye than mash bill number 1. That is known. That mash bill number 2 is higher rye than the first. There are only estimates that you can find online, and the estimates don't have a crap ton of rye in either one of them. But who knows? The estimates could be wrong, and there could be a ton of rye in these mash bills.
Estimates.
But bourbonr.com, a guy named Blake, he does a good job writing about it. If you check out his website,
bourbonyour.com.
Yeah, exactly. Bourbonr. I barely know her. What's that?
Make bourbon up yours.
Yeah, exactly. I missed that. Orlando Jones doing those commercials. Anyway, he was back on something recently.
Mitzel
he was on
is hating this episode.
Oh yeah, he's like, why do I listen to these guys
so much?
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, mash bill number 1 is expected to be no more than 10% rye in the mash. Which isn't a lot, to be honest. No idea what the ratio of the barley or the corn is otherwise, but it's expected to be low rye for sure. Mash bill number 2 is expected to be about 12 to 15% on the rye scale, on the rye percentage. So not much more, to be honest, especially compared to high rye bourbons like Four Roses, where you can get like into like the 20s or 30s or whatever of rye percentage. But mash bill number 1 has quite a few bourbons represented. First off, Buffalo Trace Standard, Eagle Rare 17, Old Charter, E.H. Taylor Small Batch and Single Barrel, Benchmark. Old Charter.
It's Old Charter?
No, yeah. There's Old Carter too.
Okay,
but that's not Buffalo Trace.
I don't know. I've never heard of Old Charter. See, I told you I don't know much about whiskey.
It's like a plastic. You can get in a handle easily. It's like really cheap.
I doubt we get it here.
You might. Anyway. It's on the bottom shelf usually if you do see it.
Maybe I'm not looking.
Otherwise, there's also Benchmark.
In all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
George T Stagg, and what we're drinking today, Stagg Jr. So let's talk about what the bottle we're drinking today. There's not a ton of information besides what I've already mentioned of mash bill number 1. It is batch 14 of Stagg Jr. This came out the summer of 2020 and is bottled at cask strength at 130.2 proof. No age statement, but it's assumed usually Staggs are around 7 to 9 years, Stagg Juniors. Very rare in terms of, it's pretty allocated. But the total wine price, if you can get it, is about $60 retail. So that's all I got in terms of history. I got 2 glasses and I got a sample bottle. And let's give it the old cork pop, Robbie.
Kind of killing this one. So I was telling Cole before we got on, I thought we did both the Staggs. And I thought my Staggs were done. We had friends over probably like 2 months ago. And he was like, it's one of the docs Chelsea works with, Lee. Shout out to Lee. He liked whiskey. And so I was like, he's like, oh, you have Stagg. Wow. And I was like, yeah. He goes, would you like some? And I poured more of it than I should have.
Nice.
But luckily I've got the dreg. So
that's we'll just enough.
Dude.
Love the nose. Cherries. Yeah, like nice Luxardo cherries. It's not overpowering, too potent on the nose. It reminds me of mash bill number 1, something like I'd get on Buffalo Trace or Eagle Rare. Light, sweet, appley, and cherries I'm getting on the nose here. But I'll wait for Robbie to catch up.
I'm taking the picture.
Wait, so did you tell Dr. Lee that you're a big deal and host a podcast that's got over 220 episodes?
I don't ever tell anybody I host a podcast.
Yeah, forget that.
No. Yeah. I always drop it because it's something. It's a hobby I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And my wife makes fun of me. Chelsea's always like, oh,
he's got fans.
no, they're listeners to her.
Yeah, they're just listeners, but they're awesome listeners.
Either way, the best. All right. I didn't even sniff it, guys.
Nose?
I was taking a little picture for the gram, Cole.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was I in the picture?
No, you wasn't. But the can of Bush's Baked Beans is. And speaking of Bush's Baked Beans, if you want to make your Halloween the best Halloween you've ever had, make sure you're handing children out scoopful, handle-sized scoops of Bush's Baked Beans into their bags.
Yep.
I know I will.
The greatest treat of this trick-or-treat season.
Yep. A delicate balance of spice, flavor, and fiber. Just to make sure they start November with a clean colon.
Don't forget to tell them.
Baked beans.
They're good for your heart.
And better for your fart.
Yep.
We should be working in advertising. Holy crap.
Dude, we could.
Speaking of crap,
if we needs more actually reached out more to get more, like, because we really don't reach out that much to get more sponsorships. But if we did, like, we would kill it in the live reads, or what do they call them?
Remember when Adam was always trying to get us to do stuff?
Oh yeah, those were hilarious. Like, we would break down laughing because we were just like,
"Hey, MeUndies,
Robbie, have you ever
enter promo code Skidmark chill filtered to get your 2% off?"
Just like, but I honestly, it was so funny when we do them. Like, we would have to cut so many times because that we never cut the podcast for the most part. Like, it's only when like an issue happens, but we had to cut so many times when we were just doing live read ads.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was great.
Cherries. This is bada bing good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On the nose.
Really pleasant still though.
Yeah, no, it's very not super for being 130 proof. There's not a lot of vapor. Like, it's really just sweet smelling, a little caramely. It's nice. Cole went for his first sip. I'm gonna go for mine.
Oh, what a finish. So I basically, sometimes with hotter whiskeys, I sometimes start with the method where I kind of hold my breath, try not to get a lot of oxygen in the mouth, and then I'll swallow the whiskey and then wait a few seconds, let the air slowly back in. The best part of that whole thing was letting the air back in, and the finish just was like fuming up in my esophagus and nostrils and everything. Like, it was fantastic. It was caramel up front, and then it went down a little bit, not in terms of bad flavor or bad anything. It just the potency went down a little bit, and then once I started to let the air back in, I'm really excited for the second sip too. But it really brought out a lot of that appley, caramely, cherry notes in a really good proof. Really good proof. So I am excited to drink some more of this, but I'm going to pour a little more.
So I get exactly what you're getting, but I get a little bit of nuttiness to it.
Oh,
that's
nuts.
Like, kind of like a pecan almost. A pecan?
Ooh, pecan.
Tour. Yeah, no.
Tour.
The heat on it is at a great level too. Like, it really doesn't feel too hot. It's just like well proofed. It's nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
If you had told me this was a Stagg Sr. or George T Stagg, I would believe it.
Yeah,
this is that caliber in my opinion. I love it. Same kind of deal, appley, but like high proof appley. Which we always get. I mean, honestly, Mashbill #1 in my opinion is apples front and center. But I always like it. I don't think there's been much of a.
So you're getting more appley. Really, sorry, I was not really paying attention. You said you're getting more appley.
I'm not getting like front and center apples, but I am getting appley, 100%. Okay. But I'm getting those cherries and apples mixed together, almost like a cherry apple pie. Nice.
Do people make cherry apple pies?
Huh?
Is cherry apple pie a thing? You could milk anything with teats, Cole, but
yeah,
you can make a pie out of anything.
Hey,
but is a cherry apple a common pie?
No. I just made that up. But if you could, I mean, heck yeah, I'm not against it. I don't know how you do it though. You'd have to slice the cherries or something like that.
I gotta tell you, man, I love doing this with you. You crack me up. I guess, but like the other thing is like every once in a while, I'll just listen to an episode and I just have fun listening. It's like, oh yeah, it was a fun time hanging out with Cole.
Yeah. I gotta listen to
Cherry
old
apple
episodes.
pie.
Cherry apple. The old cherry apple, the
Just
Wisconsin
the way
favorite.
McDonald's used to make them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy, oops.
I better add some water.
Did we both just do like, oh, the other guy's taking a sip, I better not sip?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because
I was like, I only have so much. I should probably enjoy the water pour, or at least make the water pour more. What do you call it? Like, I should get a water pour instead of forgetting to.
Get it? Don't forget it. Set it and forget it. Ron Popeil. It is lighter on the sweetness for sure. It's a little less cherry, a little more vapory with water. Not bad, but not as good as the neat nose for sure.
It's lighter on the nose. Same kind of deal, but it's much better neat in my opinion.
Oops. Mouthfeel. I like the mouthfeel on the neat or with water a little bit better.
It hits my teeth weird.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll hit your teeth weird.
One of these days, Cole, I'll push you down the stairs.
Yeah, I'll bush your baked beans.
And then on the palate, like, so it's better mouth. I was going to better mouth feels a little less sweet. It is the alcohol does come out. It's more prominent. You're drinking a little bit hotter. What did you do? What did you entry buzz with?
I had a little bit of Barrel Seagrass 16.
Okay. I went with some 1792 full proof because like we're gonna go a little hotter.
So both high proof.
Yeah.
But yours is like 115. Mine's like 130.
No, this one full proof. It's 62.5. So
take some time.
25.
Oh, you're right. I thought that was I thought the standard full proof was 115.
I don't know. Do they change it often?
Maybe that's Weller full proof. Is 115.
Yeah.
Whatevs. But yeah, my notes on the palate are it's good. It's got a bite to it that I didn't expect. And I don't always say that for it's got this like alcohol bite.
It does
at a certain point. So not better than the neat pour, but we'll see what water or ice does rather.
Where did I put my ice? Uh-oh.
Fire in the hole.
I know I got some ice. Where did I put it? I'm a mitmal bit. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're good. So the weird thing I'm getting almost no nose. There is a little bit of appley, but it's pretty non-existent, just besides the alcohol vapors with a little bit of ice in it. But I'm going to give it the old swirly poo a little bit more. The old SJ.
The mat job. Excuse me. Oh, man. Oh, I don't really have a fire in the hole. I got the perfect size piece of ice right there.
Nice. It's a blessing.
Yeah, Mara walked in yesterday. She's like, why is the floor all wet, Dad? And I was like, you'll shut your mouth if you know what's good for you. Gosh, I'm going like all domestic.
You're going full Connery.
Yeah, I'm the man now, dog.
That's funny.
I am a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. Nose-wise, I'm getting a little nutty. A little nut on the nose.
Okay, second best pour. Of the front of the palate, in my taste, front of the palate was delicious. Straight apples. Little bit of that generic caramel. Cherries are there, but not as much in the ice pour. But then it doesn't finish as good as the neat pour. It actually kind of dissipates and doesn't turn sour, but it's not enjoyable in the far end of the finish, as opposed to the neat pour, where it was like the finish could go on for days, and the whole time it's enjoyable.
I feel like I shouldn't say this, or I shouldn't. It shouldn't be this way, but I think ice is my favorite. It's
not against it.
Everything Cole said.
It's better than water.
Yeah, it is better than water. It's really good. I gotta go for another sip, but like really enjoyable, very pleasant. It was a little bit colder, which was interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are into that. So yeah, I enjoy this. Yeah, second best.
I like ice best.
Nice.
It is warm. Like it's not. It's really. It's not alcohol proofage kind of like hot in the front. It's really warm. It's really comfort. It's like a. It's like
even though it's cold,
middle of winter, pulling the laundry out of the dryer and just laying in it for a little bit, kind of warm. It's like comforting, cozy. But then on the back end, it's really hot. You feel the heat for the proofage there. I get a nice mellow sweetness, little nuttiness. It's I like so now I feel bad. Like I'm gonna go. If I ever see like the next Stagg I have at a restaurant, I'm gonna say, "Can I get just a couple ice cubes?" And I'll finish it with some ice. Like, but I would not normally do that with anything. So, although we did go, gosh, where did Chelsea and I go on our anniversary? We went to a nice steakhouse, and I got some Yamazaki, and I asked 12? For some ice. Yeah, just 12. But it's like, oh, would you like it? I was like, no. Can I get the ice on the side?
Better with ice.
Always. Yeah, it is. But I had to go neat first. First, and then add the ice. So, yeah, not many whiskeys I would ask for the ice, but this might be one I start doing if I see it. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go back to the neat. I do have a rating in mind. And it's a good rating. It's a very good rating. I love Mashbill #1.
Cole's got all the good ratings.
The heat on this guy.
He's got all the best. And I
love the mixture of cherries and apples. I'm going to give this a 9.22.
Okay.
Just above a 9.2. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I don't know if Hubbard of what, only because it's just purely good on the neat pour. I wouldn't call it like surprising. I kind of expected this to be great. But yes, very good. 9.22.
Okay. I'm a little lower than you. I like this a lot. I think this is really good. If I had to drink this for the rest of my life, and this is the only thing I could drink, and I had a supply of it, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to go 8.8. It's okay. It's really good. I don't know. I don't know if it's really good because this is where my mind kind of goes. Like, oh, you're drinking Stagg Jr. It's harder to get.
Yeah.
Or it's really good. Actually, it's just good. It is good. So I'm going to go 8.8. Yeah.
So we'll do a future episode. I do have that batch 17, but I haven't opened it yet, and I will. I don't know why I'm holding back. It's a fantastic bottle. So
go back for another sip here on the. I'm getting a good vanilla on the nose on the ice. So I didn't get that earlier.
Like vanilla?
I don't like a lot of vanilla.
Okay.
Vanilla is one of my least favorite things. Like Pendleton just is like straight vanilla. I'm like, no, don't want to do that.
That's like just
like even like vanilla
anything backing it up.
Yeah, Chelsea, like my sister, and always gets vanilla lattes. Chelsea will give it sometimes, and I'll have a sip. I'm like, that's still too much. I don't know. So I don't like a lot of vanilla, but that's a nice vanilla on this one.
I got a bottle of Buffalo Trace in my closet right now. And in that Buffalo Trace bottle, I have 3 or 4 or 5 vanilla bean pods that are aging, and I'm hoping to age it for about 1.5 years and then hand it out to some friends of saying like, hey, here's some, basically not a substitute, but it could be used for vanilla extract basically. So
I much prefer almond extract over vanilla extract.
Love
if some call for vanilla extract, I will substitute almond because it is.
Have you ever had like almond meringue cookies? They sell them at Trader Joe's. Phenomenal.
Maybe it's really good. Those big at Trader Joe's, those big circular danishes with the Viking on it. I think it's made in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's called a.
But they have the almond ones.
Ben is yelling at the mic yelling at his podcast right now.
They're
from
delicious.
Racine. They're like a Racine Wisconsin like thing, and they're called Kringles. That's what
Kringles. Yes.
Thank you, Caleb and Ben, for hanging, and Nathan Anthony for hanging in there with us. They're called Kringles.
Yes, the almond ones though.
Oh, I believe it.
Good.
Yeah,
so good.
Love
All
it.
right, for trying to shoot for a shorter episode, we're running a little long.
Not doing it. Yeah. So why don't we move to our next segment that we like to call Whiskey World News.
And we're back. It's time for Whiskey World News. We're part of the show where we read an article, we talk about it, didn't write it, gonna read it. Here we go. This one comes from Whiskey Raiders and it's written by David Morrow, entitled "One Giant Leap for Dramkind." Which, you okay there, Cole?
I am. My mic. I touched my mic, or I touched my mic holder with my glass.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the springy springs. Anyway.
One Giant Leap for Dramkind, which is awesome. Scottish Distillery celebrates barley's return from outer space, prepares to make whiskey with it. Are you telling me this whiskey went to space, Cole?
In this case, it did.
Oh boy. Speyside Scotch Whiskey Distillery, the Glenlivet, is celebrating the return of its barley seeds from space with a distillery sign that reads, "Welcome to Space, SPACE, side." Ooh. Not Speyside, Speyside.
Speyside.
Also, if they could go to Bayside, they have a Zach Morris there, that'd be great. But no, this is space. The Glenlivet sent the seeds to space in May 2021 via an experiment in collaboration with scientists at the University of Guelph in Ontario, Canada. The seeds were donated by Glenlivet's owner, Shiva's brothers, and traveled to the International Space Station on SpaceX rocket to test whether they could withstand the effects of extreme conditions, including zero gravity, extreme temperatures, and cosmic radiation.
Ooh.
The experiment was led by the School of Environmental Sciences professor and Controlled Environment Systems Research Facility Director, Dr. Mike Dixon. It was part of the university's research into growing crops in space, which has goals of giving astronauts access to fresh produce, providing clean water captured from transpiration process, providing oxygen, and removing carbon dioxide. The results are now being analyzed. Historically, when humans have discovered new land, they have produced alcohol, including whiskey, Dixon said in an announcement. I like to think that's just his announcement there.
Yeah.
We make alcohol. As whiskey enthusiasts, I want to keep this tradition going as we continue to explore the possibility of life on other planets. We look forward to working with the Glenlivet and following the journey of the barley seeds back on Earth. Now that the seeds are back on Earth, they will be planted, malted, and distilled into a single malt whiskey. We are always looking for new ways to innovate our single malt production, and by partnering with the University of Guelph on their trailblazing experiment, we had the opportunity to do exactly that, said Jane Murphy, marketing director to the Glenlivet. We are excited to see how the seeds will perform as they are planned, harvested, malted, and distilled into one of the two our iconic single malts. We hope it will produce a new extraterrestrial expression with wonderful taste.
Nice.
Wait a minute. Oh man. And then at the bottom of it, there's like links to other articles. In May, a music video that chronicled the body of Monkey Shoulder Scotch whiskey journey to outer space premiered. A music video with Monkey Shoulder going to space? How did we miss that?
Guess a bunch of whiskey has gone to space now.
Oh, man. Anyway, Cole, thoughts on the article we read?
I do have thoughts. So we, earlier on in the podcast, we drank Ardbeg Supernova, and I had originally thought that bottle went, or a portion of that bottle's whiskey went to space. Not true. It was a celebration of the fact that some of their whiskey went to space and they got to taste it themselves. This is cool because, yes, the grain that's going into their bottles, sure, that didn't go into space, but they plant the mother and father or whatever, like the next tier up was planted from those seeds that did go to space, and they grew up into barley. That barley was used for what do you call it?
Cosmic radiation.
Yeah, exactly. No? That's the cool thing to me is like cosmic radiation. That's pretty cool. And they're planting this barley, hoping it grows. They're gonna malt it, and they're gonna turn it into Speyside whiskey. So
the road, cosmic things by the B-52s. In third grade, I was in my Parks and Rec basketball team was called the Cosmic Things and named it for that album.
Nice.
Yeah,
I am a fan, and I would love in the future to try a bottle of this Glenlivet Space Side whiskey or whatever they're going to call it. But I love space, love whiskey, mix the two, put it in my mouth. So that's all I'm going to say. What do you think?
Okay, I'm with you, but I'm not going to drink it. You know why? Because what I envision happening is
You're
We
gonna
all
grow a third
cheers,
thumb.
cheers, cheers. Here we go. And glug, 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 glug. Oh, my stomach.
Mhm.
It's gonna be like Alien. There's gonna be things bursting out of stomachs, and people are
Yeah.
don't mess with
Speaking
space,
of
man.
Orlando Jones, have you ever seen Evolution?
Yes, it's also
Like
got
David
what's his
Duchovny,
face,
Orlando Jones, and Sean Patrick Scott.
the guy from American Pie. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a while ago.
Yeah. Anyways, there's this point where I think in Orlando Jones, there's this like bug that like gets inside of his skin is trying to break out.
I will say this though. The only other thought I have on this is I'm glad that the Earth is flat enough for us to safely land spaceships back on it easily.
No, that's all. I think in the flat Earth theory, they don't ever make it past the altitude or the atmosphere.
Oh, so what I meant
Or
to
maybe
say
they do,
is
they just don't document it correctly. I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm just glad the Earth is flat enough to provide a
Yeah,
nice
super
landing
flat.
space for any craft
Super
ever
flat.
returning to the ground.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stay strong, brothers.
Stay
All right.
strong, flabbies. That's great. So this week, now that we're done Whiskey World News, this week we've decided to forego what whiskey would you choose because we don't have last week's results.
So we skipped it.
Stinks.
Skipped
but
it.
we will have last week's
Dropped
results for next week. So be
On
prepared
next
on
week, yeah.
Instagram to vote on what you think of last
Which is
week's.
it's still going to be what Smalley, what airplane size, what's the tiny bottle called?
A mini?
Mini.
Yeah.
What mini would you hand out on Halloween?
Yeah. To the parents and of legal age.
Exactly. So anyway,
Yeah.
all right, man. What do we know?
So
We're gonna. Do we have two we're gonna throw up for next week?
Not at the moment, but I'm leaning.
I'm gonna throw up
we're
this
gonna go
Stagg Jr.
bourbons
from
next
this week because I am trashed on the flat Earth.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing.
We're gonna
That's
go.
the nice thing is
What's
knowing
that?
that the Earth is flat. So when you drink too much, you don't stumble around as much. When you thought it was
you
round,
won't fall off the edge
it
of the
was
earth.
hard to
Or
stand
will
up
you?
round.
Yeah.
Well, I don't walk that far.
I do. When I drink too much, I walk a far amount. Too far. Actually, that's funny. So one time when I was with my sister Amanda, it was right after I turned 21, and I was like 22 at the time, but I was starting to get used to whiskey. And actually, at that point, that summer was the first time I'd ever had Eagle Rare. And so my sister, and I loved it. I was like, this is actually, I can get behind this. And my sister Amanda took me out to this whiskey bar in Philadelphia. And I was like, I remember it had something to do with a bird. And I like ordered Wild Turkey 101. And I was way off. I was like, this doesn't taste the same as I remember the one that I had this summer. Anyway, I drank a few drinks. And then we're walking back to my sister's house. And I am like speed walking because that can happen when I drink a little more than I probably should. I walk fast.
And you're a long-legged man.
I'm a long legger.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we'll keep. I'm thinking of maybe doing it between two bourbons next week.
Okay.
But we'll make them
surprise.
Close.
Tune in on Tuesday, and you shall see what we'll drink between Cole and me.
Yeah.
Will it be appley and fruity? A bourbon, as he said,
or will it be will it?
And go to our head.
Yeah. So keep an eye out, listeners, and I hope it is a good matchup, and I hope that it is one of those ones that's like a close race.
And Cole, I hope that you have a really good trip, man. Give Marco my love.
Yeah.
Also, give him a punch to the gut and say, "Where was Robbie's invitation?"
Yeah. And I hope that it's going to be a fun week. I hope that you have fun watching from a distance. But most of all, listeners, I hope that our love of spirits lifted yours. Yeah, exactly. It's a fun family time, you know. But
eat your heart out. It's great.
Exactly.